Hello, beautifuls. Welcome back to my Chanel. I think we're going to do something a little bit more light-hearted today. Oh my God, aren't we excited for that? So instead of me doing America's Next Top Scandal Girls or Botched, today we are going to have a look at the hit reality TV show called Glow Up, and it is by the BBC. This show first came across my radar a couple of years ago with season 1 that Ellis Atlantis won. Now, Ellis Atlantis is an incredibly talented drag makeup artist and makeup artist in general on Instagram and looks absolutely stunning, creating looks like this, and this with the utmost precision and perfection. Absolutely gorgeous. Now, Glow Up also gave us this. This is the best thing I've ever seen. Trixie and Katya on Netflix's, I was going to say What Not to Wear. That's not what they did. That's not what they did at all. What was it? What, to look good at home naked? No. So as a professional makeup artist myself, who has worked in the industry for about 14 years, I thought it would be a fun idea to go through Glow Up and just assess what's going on, basically. Assess what's going on and share my opinions on the makeup and the critiques and the judging and the whole competition in a roundabout way on my YouTube Chanel. So depending on how you guys like this video, I might make this a series. I don't know if I could do it weekly. I mean, let me know what you guys think. I could kind of recap an episode, see what I think about the makeup and the challenges every kind of week. I don't know. Let me know in the comments box below, my lovelies. So today we are going to be looking at season 3, episode 1. Now, because this is a brand new show that has just been launched, I'm assuming the copyright is going to be so viscerally tight around it. So instead of looking at video clips, we're going to be looking at pictures, and I'm also going to be giving illustrious voiceovers. So in today's video, I will be talking about spoilers. I mean, if you don't care about spoilers, come ahead and watch us. Join us for the critiques. Girls, I'm sure you'll absolutely love it. So without further ado, let's begin. So in this episode, we are introduced to Alex, Craig, Dolly, Elliot, Jack, Riley, Samar, Sophie, Zavi, and Nicole. So we start the episode being introduced to these guys, saying that they have auditioned amongst thousands and thousands and thousands of people to get onto this show. So right away, we are getting in with the good stuff. So for the first episode of season 3, Val and Dominic reveal that the contestants are going to be doing a campaign for Superdrug. They have to create an eye-catching look that celebrates the diversity of the consumer society. That's quite a challenge. They are given 2 hours to create something really quite outstanding and beautiful that could technically go on the front of every single Superdrug in the UK. Now, if you don't know what Superdrug is, it's kind of like an Ulta or a Sephora. In a sense, I think it's more kind of like an Ulta or a CVS. It's a little bit more high street, shall we say. And the winner's work will be put in all of the windows across 800 stores across the country. So, you know, it's quite a big deal. It's quite a big deal. I sort of expected something to be amazing, revealing, eye-catching, somewhat avant-garde, never been seen before, Ming vase. Well, that wasn't quite what we got, but we definitely got something. So this week's guest judge is Ate Jewel, and she'll be overseeing basically the photo shoot and the whole sort of creative direction of where this photo shoot is going and how the makeup is going to be done. Basically, she gives us a nice history lesson about how she felt approaching counters as a woman of color and being turned away, with brands essentially saying that there is no products there for her to use. Now, that is quite absolutely horrific, and I think in the last sort of 10 years, we've actually come a long way in terms of brand awareness for the fact that people of different skin tones are existing and need different things from their products. We've got a long way to go, but we've definitely come a little way. So she goes over her history as a beauty journalist, explaining where the direction of the photo shoot is going. Enter our little contestants. They are told they can use any product from the Superdrug range that they have brought with them here today. You can see them on the screen right here. In this picture, I'm pretty sure I can see some Makeup Revolution. I can see some Rimmel. I can see some... What else can I see? Oh, what's that? I think it's B Beauty Cosmetics. That kind of looks a little bit like, maybe like Sample Beauty or something. Maybe not. Definitely some Ben Nye, Ardell lashes, those sorts of things, with a huge selection of brushes as well. So there's a great range of products here to use that I think would be excellent at creating a really outstanding look that would be very editorial worthy by capturing people's attention, but also showcasing what the products can do without it necessarily looking too costumey. I think that is a great way to advertise diversity to a consumer base. Now, the contestants have 2 hours to complete this look. Now, 2 hours to me is quite a long time. If you're just doing makeup, 2 hours is more than enough time to create a beautiful, conceptually well-translated look that will look wonderful in photographs. After all, these looks are going to be photographed. Literally, it's portrait photography, sis. The presenter says, "You have 2 hours, off we go, girls!" And the challenge is beginning. Each contestant has been pre-assigned a model. So the first contestant we can see doing their work is Xavi, and he wants a really glowy outcome for the skin. Personally, in my opinion, I'm not sure that glowy photographs very well. I think it can sometimes come across a little bit greasy, and that is a problem that I have with dewy finishes. I wouldn't necessarily use them in photo work, but that's just me. So part of the overall challenge of this week is the color matching procedure. Now, working in the industry, a color match is like one of the hardest parts you can do. Just judging from basically how different products range from different like product ranges, if that makes sense. So the way that I usually do a color match, it's 3 individual colors across the chin and the neck, and you pick the one that's going to match the most after it's been buffed in a little bit, depending on which foundation or concealer you are using. Now, it's very easy to say in theory. It's actually a lot harder in practice if you're not familiar with the products and how they behave, but I guess that's all part of the challenge. So Dolly here is already a retail makeup artist, so I'm guessing that she works on a counter, and judging from her like phenomenal way that she does her like black and gold eyes, I have a feeling she might maybe work for MAC Cosmetics. I'm not entirely sure, but I do get that little feeling. Her face, absolutely stunning. I cannot wait to see what she creates. She says that she wants to go for something bold and colourful and really bring in the customer. So Dominic Skinner also mentioned something really, really great, is that these budding makeup artists are going to be basically dropped in at the deep end. They're going to have to do so many things that are going to be able to translate across a number of different people with different skin types in different environments for different deadlines, for different intensities and urgencies of work. Literally, being a makeup artist is probably one of the most stressful jobs you can pick in the entire world. It also requires you to be incredibly social and also have a very secure eye for detail and a bit of a thick skin in this industry, because so many people are going to turn around and say,
"Well, that was crap, wasn't it? What scum."
We then come across this contestant, Riley, who has a male model who has facial hair, if you can see right here. Now, Riley already has started to do something that I wouldn't necessarily have done in this case. She started to go in and try to color correct the beard area, but she's going in with such a tiny little brush and such a tiny little, like really light feather hand stroke against his skin. That just screams to me like this is something that you will learn over time when it comes to color correcting. When you are color correcting men's skin and you want that sort of like overall perfect full coverage skin that is just one complete color that you can then build on top of. Most of the time, men's skin needs to take a lot more product than women's skin does. So the idea of just going in with a little brush just to like spot correct on a man with like a full facial beard it's not it, but it's one of these things that you learn over time. She mentions that she's absolutely out of her comfort zone, and you can really see it on her face, especially in this picture. She's got this kind of like awkward smile, which I think I've done so many times in this sort of environment when you're at work and you're like, I'm really trying to do something brilliant, but it's so difficult. Because I don't know the products that were available on set, she might have only been able to access something like a color correcting lipstick, or a lipstick rather that could be used for color correcting. So something with a heavy red orange base matte lipstick, and literally just draw the lines onto the skin and then buff them in with a thick fluffy brush just to really get that coverage on. Depending on how much beard they have, you can really work it in and then put a layer of powder over the top and then literally go in with another foundation on top. That's kind of like the only way you can really even out a really thick, stubbly, like 5 o'clock shadow type thing, because there are some men out there that wear makeup that literally as soon as they're finished shaving, they are growing a beard again. So it's like hard, but you need to really refine those skills at coverage, but those things only kind of come with time. So I think she's absolutely going to struggle with this model. Not only that, Riley does in fact then say that she's never worked on a model before in her life, so she really has her work cut out for her here. So I feel like this is where Glow Up kind of really splits the competition, because there are some like incredible Instagram artists who showcase most of their work on social media, but they're also putting them against retail makeup artists, people that actually have experience putting makeup on models, which is kind of a weird product producer choice in my opinion. But you know, it is what it is. Maybe that's what makes the show kind of thing. Maybe that's kind of what's saying like,
It doesn't matter if you are a retail lady or if you're a custom bedroom lady. Maybe you can win the Glow Up.
this little tiny brush is just not gonna cut the mustard, Dan. The next contestant we see is Jack. Now I have a feeling that I actually know Jack or have met Jack in real life. Like, This is a weird thing. Like, he just looks so familiar to me from my, like, past at some point. I'm very confused about the whole thing. Jack said something excellent, which is what I was saying earlier about color matching. Pick 3 shades, the one in the middle blends the nicest, and then you move forward with that one. It is an excellent, surefire way of guaranteeing that your base understanding in this world will just move forward. I like to match the neck because you're going to be wanting to blend the whole, like, face together with the neck. Sometimes the face colors can be a lot different from the neck colors. I definitely suffer with this. I'm just looking in the viewfinder now. You can't really see it today because I've got tan on, girls. I've got a little bit of tan on. But my face is a lot pinker and a lot more pigmented than my neck is. So I always match my neck upwards, and that's really a surefire way. The next contestant that we see is Summer, and her model has very olive undertones, and she mentioned something really important when it came to doing makeup on other people. She literally put a couple of foundation swatches across the cheek and the jaw and noticed that they were all coming up far too pink. Now, undertone is a hugely important thing when it comes to makeup. It can throw everything else off, basically. It can make your eyeshadow look strange, it can make your contours look strange, it can make your highlighter look strange, it can make your lipstick look really strange if you do not have the right undertone on the skin. It can make olive tones look really ashy and sort of like washed out. And if you put yellow tones or olive tones on pink skin, it just looks really strange. An excellent way to try and find undertones is to do the exact same thing as with your foundation swatches. So when you find the right depth of tone from your foundation swatches, try again with different undertones to try and actually match your model or yourself, whoever it is that you want to match. So there are 3 major forms of undertones, and that is pink, neutral, and yellow, which can either be called warm, cool, neutral, or they can be the other way around, or they can have different little numbers or letters at the end of product codes. It really is basically up to a brand how they color coordinate their undertones within their foundation ranges, or their base ranges, should I say. It literally just takes a little bit of time of like working out, doing your 3 little swatches, blending them in. Does it work? Does it, after a minute or 2 minutes, has it changed the undershade? Has it shifted in tone? Has it dried down and it's actually a different color from then when it was wet? There are lots of things to consider when it comes to the skin of a model. Again, these sorts of things are the stuff that comes over time. Once you develop brand awareness and product awareness through each different product line or SKU, you will be able to really pick out foundation shades really quite fast for people. And you might even find by the end of it, a couple of years down the line, you'll be able to look at people and say, I think you're this shade, put it on the skin, see it works amazingly, and be like,
damn, I really did that.
So this is a snapshot of some of the products. It looks like we've got a cream contouring palette and a cream, is that cream eyeshadow or cream blushes? It might be cream eyeshadows, actually. We've got some coral, what is that? Liquid blush, oh fun, coral liquid blush, amazing, by B, and I can see a Revolution foundation there, and also some Ben Nye powder, so they've got a good range of products. I would be quite comfortable with using any of these to create a look in 2 hours, but you will have to also take into consideration how these products are going to photograph. Cream contours, I don't think look lovely, in photographs. I just don't think they do. I think if you're going to use them as underpainting to really create some depth of tones, I think that looks amazing, but it really is one of those things that's only really reserved for really dramatic makeup. Like most people on a day-to-day basis that are looking to do their, you know, average daily makeup shop, or average monthly makeup shop, should I say. Most people don't buy makeup daily. You won't need to do any underpainting. So interesting that they've given them all cream products, because I wouldn't necessarily do that. Maybe a stick though. Difficult to say. Not my personal favorite, not in my kit, but I'm sure there are people out there that swear by it, girls. So after all the contestants have a color matched their model and their base is all done and fine and marvelous, they then have to create a bold eye look in order to invite people into the store to purchase and peruse the product. So this is Alex and her model and her final 2-hour look. Now, I think the skin matching is absolutely beautiful. That's one of the most crucial parts about doing makeup for any occasion, realistically, if that's photo, editorial, bridal, runway, any of it. It looks great. Her skin is really nice and uniform all over. It looks like she's got a wonderful amount of little light illumination underneath the eye here. The highlight on the nose, I feel, didn't work quite so well. What I would have done in this situation is to powder the entire nose so you take away the natural shine and just added a gentle little bit of a soft sort of like beige gold down the center with a fine brush and feathered out the outside so that it creates this like narrowness, really. I love the lip shape and lip color and lip texture that she's created. I love that like glossy brown with a little bit of an ombre. Absolutely adore that. This contour, I feel like it looks a little bit patchy. Now, it's difficult to judge this because obviously it is a photograph and I'm looking at it on a screen through a photograph through the internet. So it could be much better in real life. The brown, if you can kind of see, it's got like a stripe here, so that blends blending need to really be worked in a bit more. In this case, is something where underpainting could have really worked. If she had have used a cream product, she could have really buffed it in quite a lot, but not those things in the palettes. Those things in the palettes have a really like shiny, like finish to them, and they are absolutely not worth it in this sort of a situation. This is an instance in which glow on the skin has photographed really, really well and doesn't look greasy, although I would have personally powdered a little bit more around the hairline just to make the dewiness look more intentional and less like the whole face is dewy, if you know what I mean. Next we have Riley and her model, and this is a massive, massive flop for me. This is 2 hours of work. You can see that the undertone is really, really wrong. They've given this guy sort of like a golden, warm undertone on his foundation. And as you can see, judging by his hand here, you can see he's much more of a neutral undertone. He's not particularly deep-skinned either, so you could have gone a little bit lighter in the foundation, or maybe even the powder a little bit lighter. But this is where I feel like a dewy finish looks a bit greasy. So like, you don't want really like shine on this level of the cheek here. If you want a dewy finish, it needs to be bright and mostly kept to the center of the face up here. Nobody wants a dewy jawline, absolutely not. His lips sadly look a little bit dry as well. It would have been nice to see a little bit of gloss or a little bit of balm or something with a little bit of color to bring some life to the lips. You can still kind of see this little bit of purpliness underneath the eye here. Now, when it comes to using concealers in a way like this, I always find the best way to get the maximum cover out of your concealer is to dot it into the area that you need it, blend it in slightly, leave it to set, leave it 20 seconds, leave it 30 seconds, and then buff it out into the rest of the skin, and you have really maximized the coverage from the concealer. I don't feel like she's set it under here properly at all either. You can kind of see like it's starting to crease around here, especially on the outer edge of the eye. So I would have gone in with a really, really, really fine fluffy brush, maybe even an eyeshadow brush, and just set that area with a little bit of loose powder just to make sure that it's not going to move by the time he gets on set, because that can happen really fast, especially when it comes to cream-based products, which it looks like she might have used sort of all over the face, because there's that kind of cream finish texture. I do not feel like this is a matte finish foundation at all. Next, we're going to talk about the eyes. Now, the eyes, this isn't 2 hours worth of work. Personally, I always look at graphic liner as this thing that's like, it's quick, I need to do it fast, I need a little bit of precision, but I also need to make maximum impact in a short amount of time. It's something that you can do with a couple of really like calm flicks of the wrist, and if you F up the first time, you can always buff back in more foundation and go straight over the top. Whereas if it was something to do with like a more sort of like smoky bronze look, smoky golden bronze eye, basically, there's a lot more technique involved in that, and also it appeals a lot more to a marketing strategy team. I do like the idea that she chose red though. I think red for a graphic liner, unusual, very different. You don't often see that in campaigns, especially from a consumer point of view. So I do like the fact that she went for an unusual color for her graphic liner. I just feel like the whole look needed to be a bit different in order to really like tickle my boxes, girl. The most jarring thing about this image really is the fact that the face doesn't really match the neck, and it doesn't really match like around the lips, and it also doesn't match the hand or the arm, and it doesn't match the ears. So like, no, needed to redo the base. So this is Sophie and her model, and remember, 2 hours, they had 2 hours to do this. I actually quite like how this turned out. I still don't feel like it's 2 hours worth of work, personally, but that's just my opinion. I really like the way that the eyebrows set in this picture. Personally though, I'm not a great fan of like this upswing eyebrow look, you know, like the sort of like the soap brows where everything is pushed really up, the laminated brows. I'm not a huge fan of it, but I know that it is a massive consumer point right now. So excellent that she has involved that, and that she's also kept the freckles on this model's skin. I feel like that is an incredibly important thing to remember, is that not everything is just full coverage, erase everything, create it again. My clients would always have a specific idea of what they wanted in mind, and they would always come to me because I almost do like showgirl light makeup. Like the makeup that I do is very much stage ready. It's very much designed for long wear. I specialize in waterproof makeup. I specialize in makeup for events that are going to be used quite a lot on stage, or be seen by a lot of people, or photographed from a lot of angles, or even on video. That's where my makeup comes in. I'm not usually into consumer makeup, because consumer makeup is very different to the way that I like to work. Like if you come to me and you want your makeup done, I'm going to give you something beautiful on the eye that's really eye-catching. I'm going to give you skin that's going to last quite a long time, and it's going to be photographed from every angle beautifully. So I really like the fact that they've left that little bit of shine on the nose. I think that brings a real freshness to the look. It makes it feel quite youthful and and juvenile and very exciting. Come in and buy my products. Absolutely love the lip again. This brown ombre gloss is beautiful. This has come across more of a balm than a gloss, if you can see. So a gloss here would be more glassy looking and really reflective. This is much more of like shine from within on the lips. It's almost like a cream product on the lip rather than a gloss. Absolutely love that. Remember, people, that blush doesn't only just happen on your cheeks. You also get a little flush along the jawline. You get a little flush around the forehead. So Dominic Skinner was really, really quite tough on this next makeup artist and their model. This is Craig and his model. Dominic was like,
there is nothing appealing about this, girls.
And I have to actually say that I kind of agree with this. I feel like this is really, really basic. Remember, 2 hours. 2 hours to create this look. And I can only really tell that there's some blush on, some mascara, and maybe a little bit of an unusual lip color. Like, this lip, how would you describe this lip color? Like, to me, it's like mauve and brown, but also not fully, you know what I mean? It doesn't look like the technique has been applied correctly on the outer sides of the lips either. What would I have done to make this more exciting? What would I have done? I think this model is very specifically stylistic, so you're going to have to work with the features. You're going to have to work with the tones. Look at what color their eyes are. Are you going to be able to put a little dot of color for a little bit more excitement around the eyes? Remember, you don't always have to go big. This is a case in which perhaps a little bit of a cream color would have worked really, really quite nicely across the eyelid. Maybe even something a little bit more bolder. Maybe something like a tropical coral, pinky orange, maybe with a little bit of shine in it, would have worked lovely across the eyelid itself. Little bit more of a structured brow. Red lip would have looked absolutely striking, very Hollywood glam. And then a little bit of shine across the cheekbone here. Leaves a lot to be desired, yes. Now, this is Dolly and her model. Now, I love the vision that she's gone for here. She's gone for this kind of like bright, almost like a subdued rainbow kind of eye look. The only thing that I would say is I would have loved a little bit of powder across the forehead just to dull that shine a little bit. I've just got done lifting something heavy up the stairs, girls, and I'm a little bit sweaty. That's what it comes across as to me. I will also say that she's tried to add some gold flecks across this model's skin to really like pull in something a bit different, bit something exciting. I don't really feel like that has worked in this case. How would I have done this? Instead of maybe flicking gold at the skin, I would have just gone in and stuck little diamonds and little gems. I don't think a lot of consumers have times to be like sticking diamonds and gems on their face, but you know what I mean? In this kind of a case, I don't think the flicks with the gold has worked. I love an eye that's decorated in black, personally. I love it. I'm always going to. The skin looks really fresh and quite lovely. This shine across the cheek here is actually makes dewy skin look really nice. I like very strategically placed shine, and I feel like that gives a real glow from within rather than looking, as I say, a little bit oily, a little bit greasy, yeah. So this is Xavi and his model. Now, I actually don't agree with the judges here at all. They said it's not a memorable image, it's not a memorable look. Personally, I love this kind of like pink garage doors affair. Garage doors are like an old affectionate term which you use for just using one solid color between your eyes and your eyebrows. I think it looks absolutely beautiful. It really works with this model's skin because this rich redness is something you just don't see. You just do not see it in consumer campaigns. Personally, I find it quite weird that Dominic didn't step in and say, I actually love this, because I feel like Dominic's work, this is kind of something that I might necessarily see associated with his work. This kind of like soft, beautiful skin with a really bold eye, especially as he has like bleached eyebrows and likes his little twists on style. So I was surprised that he didn't step in and go,
I love it, girls. Absolutely love it.
I was quite surprised about that. I will say that, again, 2 hours. This model has lovely golden skin, so I would have maybe tried to amp this up a little bit by doing a little bit more of a smudgy, smoky eye, and then blending it into this sort of like red bronze tone, this reddy pinky bronzy tone. So something that would have started with a pencil and then just smudging that pencil in as a base and then going over the top with this red shade. So you've got that sort of like built up depth of base from the pencil. You could do it with a black and then go over with the eyeshadow as I just said, and that would convert it to a kind of like soft off brown burgundy black. Absolutely stunning, and it would have created that little bit more of extra drama that would have really connected with the viewer's eyes. So now we are looking at Elliot and his model. Now, I have a lot of emotions about this image. I quite like the application technique. I just don't think the colours worked as well as Elliot maybe wanted them to. Personally, I am an absolute fan of bruise colours. I love bruise tones. I absolutely love this idea of like a band of colour around the outside of the face. I've done it multiple times, especially when it comes to doing makeup on Rolly, for example, which you guys would have seen. I just don't necessarily think that this like ochre mixed with brown to sort of like a muted grey brown has really worked in this case. So this was Jack and their model. I actually quite like this. The judges were like,
No, we've seen it multiple times before, girls.
And I personally just think that, like, you can't go wrong with big, juicy, colourful lips. Like, this is kind of like a muted red-brown tone. Absolutely adore that. Maybe what I would have done instead is just put some lashes on the outer edge of the eyes. Once again, I don't know if they had access to any of the, like, eyelashes or anything like that. Any sort of, like, extra accessories. Love the eyebrow shape. I think that sort of, like, structured brow is beautiful. I quite like the eye shape as well. This kind of, like, golden liner that goes up. I wouldn't necessarily have put the gold underneath the eyes. I don't think with eye texture down here, it works well to have a metallic tone. Maybe a little bit of like buffing deep contour tone just to like really make the eyes more sort of like eye-catching. So next we have Nick and her model, and this idea in reality is such a good idea, but the execution was not there. It really wasn't there, and that's such a shame because I want to like this. I really want to like this. Sadly, the eye kind of looks muddy in a way that's like not really working well. It's really difficult. Her model has like auburn hair. It's just a bit messy, sadly. This whole thing is just a bit messy. I can see where she was going for her idea, and I just feel like maybe the technique isn't quite there yet, because I would not have pulled this green up right up to the bridge of the nose. If you want to inject colour into something like this, but also make it a bit more appropriate for day wear, or maybe appropriate in a consumer environment, I always love the idea, put your browns down first, and then buff in a khaki green over the top. That would really go against the red of the hair. The difficult thing with red and green is it's always going to look a bit Christmassy. If you go for more muted tones, you can make it look a lot more sort of like autumn glam rather than
Christmas at the grotto.
Do you know what I mean? And also the lip is a little bit messily applied. You can see there's like a little bit of smudging on the outside here. The way that you can really sort this out is to put your colour on first. Put your lipstick colour you want to use first. Put it all over the lips first, and then go in and precisely line with your liner, and you will find that the lip just comes together a lot faster. And then you can put a tiny little bit of gloss across the top here or across the middle down here, especially in photos. That kind of like emulates the whole idea that the whole lip is glossy. It's a shame though, because she's matched the skin beautifully. The skin isn't overly shiny, which is exactly something I love. Matte and lovely is exactly what I'm here for. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more blush, a little bit more cheek action going on, and maybe just like tiny points of highlight. Next up we have Sama and her model. 2 hours to do some colourful blobs is not it for me. I'm not into it at all. Absolutely not into it. I do not feel like this says, makeup brand, come in and buy our stuff, come in, you'll be able to create something beautiful and unique. I feel like this is very like, I work on a kids show. That's my opinion. You do not have to agree with me. You might have thought something very, very different. You could have easily tied this in a way that's a lot more structured and a lot more editorial. I'm just not into it. There's not really much I can say. The skin looks really lovely. The color matching went really well. The colors on the little blobbles don't look vibrant. They don't look saturated. They don't look opaque. They just look a bit muted and a bit face painty. So it's kind of a little bit strange because all the judges absolutely fell out their seats and adored this look, and it's just something that I can't really connect with personally. So Val, the judge, said something really interesting here. She said, if I saw his picture in a window, I would want to go into that shop and see what their makeup is like. And I was thinking, when she said this, I just thought, you are someone who has worked for Alexander McQueen. You have worked with Vivienne Westwood, and you've seen this and gone, oh, fashion has been done in here on this day. And I was just a bit like, Val, no. We then find out that Summer has actually won with her model with the little polka dots all over his face, and he will be in Superdrug across the country as the model to bring everybody in. So, you know, it is what it is, I suppose. Personally, I would have chosen either Dolly's model or Jake's model in order to really sell the brand's idea of diversity and inclusion. We then find out that Riley and Craig are in the bottom bottom two for this week for their work. And I do agree with this bottom two. I really do. I really do agree with it. So they get put in what's known as the red chair. So they get 15 minutes less on the next challenge, which is to create a makeup look on themselves to show the judges who they are and what their life truly means through makeup. Which is an excellent idea, actually. I absolutely adore that. This video is going to be so long if I go through every single person's individual bits that they said throughout this episode when it came to creating their own makeup for themselves. So what I'm going to do is just show you the pictures at the end and give you a lowdown breakdown of what I love or don't like about the images and how I would have changed them or the techniques if I were doing them, you know, if I were doing them. Let's have a look, shall we? So I was just literally looking through the episode to remind myself of what happened. And oh my God, Dolly put LEDs in her hair for her final look. And I was just like, gagged. So Dolly is the first to be judged, as you can see right here. This is the makeup look that she has created. I adore this. I like, as soon as I saw her doing this, I was like, oh, this is such an excellent idea to go for. I would like a little bit more blending on this under eye situation here. I feel like the white has kind of gone a little bit awry. It kind of looks a little bit textured. But aside from that, I think what absolutely beautiful idea. This took her 2.5 hours, and I can really see where the time has gone in. I love the fact that she's included lots of straight lines and lots of curves to create this really like illusion of shape and texture. I think it works really well. And the gold that she has done is just bloody stunning. Look at that. Like, one excellent look, an excellent idea. Her inspiration was Afrofuturism, and I can really kind of see that coming through. This kind of like idea of you are where you've come from, but you are also where your culture is going. I like that. I think that is a kind of really unusual way to do a spin on something like this. Next, we have Craig and his final look here. His final look is like unveiling his skin to reveal who he is on the inside and dealing with being attracted to the same sex, and also with his struggles through life, through not being seen as equal. I personally love the concept, hate the execution. I just feel like it looks messy, unkept, and it doesn't really look like flesh. It looks more like woodland area, in my opinion. I don't really know how this could have been saved. When it comes to doing something like this, like an anatomy look, or you really want to sort of like emulate veins and things like that, it really helps to actually have a reference image of what the face actually looks like, because weirdly enough, when you actually look at what I mean, obviously, having a science degree, I will know this. When you actually look at the anatomy of the face when the skin is not on it, when you actually look at the muscles and the connective tissue, it does not go in this sort of like downwards, upwards way, like this like outwards direction. It actually goes all the way around the eyes. Like, you have orbital muscles that are really like constructed in such a specific way, and you have this area that goes down, and then you have nerves that go down your cheeks like this, down to here, and down the neck. If you'd have gone from a reference picture of what the flesh actually looks like, it would have looked less like wood, I think, and that would have really benefited his look for this. Next up, we have Jack. Now, I find it really difficult to say things like, I hate it, I don't like it, blah, 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 because this is very, like, representative of yourself and your artwork in this world and how you want to move forwards. I, personally, this is not for me. I love the blending technique on the cut crease here and the fact that it swoops up and out. I just feel like the eyelash placement is a little bit off for me. When you do things like this and you want that kind of, like, snatched, uplifted effect, everything has to be, like, angled slightly upwards. So, for me, for example, for something like this, if I was going to wear really heavy false eyelashes, in fact, even when I'm not wearing heavy false eyelashes, just the ones like this. So when I put them on, I actually lay a brush from the end of my nose to the end of my eye and just rest my eyes down like this so that my eyelashes will always curve up at the outside to give that snatched effect. Glitter hides a multitude of sins. So I don't know what's made Jake put glitter all over their face. Maybe they made a couple of mistakes and just felt like that's what they had to do. But overall, glitter doesn't photograph well. It looks wonderful in video because you get to see the twinkle. In photos, it just looks grainy and gritty, and it just creates extra texture where there doesn't need to be. So while I understand the idea of it being like a glamorous, like rosy cabbage situation, but I don't want to come across mean. Like, I do not want to come across mean. These people are on television and they're going to be getting a lot of comments from all sorts of people, both in the makeup industry and outside of the makeup industry, and I'm absolutely not here to send hate to anybody. So don't anybody watching this ever think that you should go and send hate to anyone. Do not do that. That's not what we're here for. 4 girls. So next up we have Xavi, and they have decided to structure this entire makeup look around the fact that they have Asperger's and how they see the world. Their world is in colour, but sometimes they can only see it in black and white. Now that makes it kind of difficult to critique this makeup, because this makeup is art. Like, this is their expression about how they see and experience the world. So I am absolutely not critiquing that in the slightest. I feel like the idea is astronomically wonderful. I feel like we need to see more of these sorts of things normalized. So Xavi used tape to create the initial block around here. I absolutely adore that. I think that is quite a good idea to get like clean lines. Some of the colors you can see up around the forehead up here haven't quite gone to the edge here. I wonder if it would have looked more impactful if it had just been like clean, almost like a clean inverted effect just across here. Almost like if you can imagine doing it in Photoshop and getting it kind of like that clean. In 2.5 hours though, that is quite a lot of work to do, especially with all the blending of the like thermal imaging kind of inspiration around here. Dominic actually says something really quite interesting at this point. He suggests to Xavi that what he should do is just do it freehand from his eyeline here. I don't agree with that. I would love to see Dominic try and approach a look like this whilst doing it freehand. I think the use of tape is an ideal thing right here. I just feel like it needed to be more balanced. Maybe after Xavi had finished using tape, he could have gone in with something with a flat edge, pushed it right up against the white, and then painted upwards just to create a guideline to make it much more opaque and much more seamless. Next up, we have Sophie, and this look is astronomical. I absolutely love every single thing about this look. I think it is fashion forward. I can see it in an editorial somewhere. Like, I adore this look. This is one of the times in which like upwards brows really, really works. I love the use of massive underlashes just down here. I think that looks absolutely beautiful. I love the contouring on the lip and the use of extra colors around the outside to create that sort of bruising effect. I love the pink. I love the fact that it is like right up to the edge of this mask shape that she has created. It is stunning from start to finish. There is not anything that I would have done differently here. In fact, actually, it really reminds me of my old friend Adam Medusa Sidwell, who I used to go partying with way back in the day, who used to work for Ilamasca. Used to party with things like Vivienne Westwood, those sorts of things. Absolutely stunning, stun, capital stun. If there was like a gold star treatment of the week, she should get it, because that is stunning. And from her words, her look is based on when women with autism try to act and behave in a normal way perceived by society. It feels like they have to wear a mask. I absolutely gorgeous execution. Absolutely stunning. What a wonderful message as well. So next up we have Sama, and she has explained that this is her cultural heritage, her cultural identity, and she wants to do something that really emulates that and comes through. I am absolutely not here to criticize anybody's culture. I'm not here to criticize anything like that. I feel like there is a beautiful idea behind this, but it has not been executed as well as she potentially could do. I can 100% see that she can work the beauty. She knows how to do a good, flawless base. She knows how to do a stunning lip. Look at how like precise the lines are on that lip work, and how beautiful the blending is on that eye as well. This slight sort of like soft blended wing, stunning, absolutely works beautiful. The eyebrows, very structured, very stunning. She actually did something quite unusual in to create this look. She used a string and put some liquid makeup on that string to create these like lines in the hope that it would create a sensible and symmetric line. Sadly, I don't feel like that has worked. I also feel like instead of using liquid liner for these little, I don't know what these shapes are called on her cheek, but I'm just going to call them little squares. They're not quite squares, but you know what I mean. These little shapes here, I feel like they're done in pencil, and that's a really interesting take, because it's not going to give you anywhere near as a precise, impactful line as liquid liner is going to. Next up, we have Elliot, and their storyline is that they have really struggled with some of their asymmetrical features on their face, and they really wanted to exaggerate that as a way with processing the emotion that they felt attached to those features. The more I look at it, the more I can see some real technical skill here. So they've covered their eyebrows, which is an amazing thing that takes time by itself. I would say I don't really like, I feel like the lip is getting a little bit crunchy. Is that the word? Oh, that sounds mean. Not necessarily crunchy, but like, I feel like there's a problem. Should we just say there's a problem with the inner lip? I love the blending on the cheeks and the tones used. These kind of like skin tones, but bone tones. Absolutely love this. Almost the optical illusion effect of this is created really, really well. Absolutely love this. Personally, I would have liked a little bit of a false eyelash or something, maybe like a couple of eyelashes down here to signify this eye, maybe like a couple of eyelashes on top over here to really further accentuate that snatchness, but otherwise, it's great. Next up, we have Alex, and Alex really struggled with this challenge, shall we say. So Alex had started their makeup, they'd done their eyebrows, they'd glued them down, they'd started to process them, did about half an hour's worth of makeup, and then decided to take it all off, and then tried again the same technique about half an hour later, had to wipe all of that off again. So they had to start 3 times on their makeup in this allotted amount of time, and then they ended up settling on this and not doing the glued down brows at all. It is really difficult to get a technique like glued down brows done the first time. I've only ever done it a handful of times in my career, and it's so difficult. Every single time is a little bit different than it used to be. I feel like it's a real drag technique that only comes with time and being able to really find products that work well for you. That being said, the very fact that Alex could then do this whole look in that short of amount of time compared to everybody else who only did one look in that amount of time, I do kind of feel like it's a bit unfair. It's really difficult to watch someone struggle, so I'm not going to judge them on that at all. I do, however, feel like this look is not quite there. They've kind of gone for this idea of a parrot that lives on their estate that is very vocal and very noisy, and I love that idea. You know, take a little simple thing that you encounter frequently from your daily life and turn it into a glamorous look. Absolutely love that. Have all the time in the world for that. I just feel like because of the timing issue that happened, this could have been a lot better. Next up, we have Nick, and Nick is the only one that decided to incorporate some amount of her hair and like other sort of like theatrics with her hands into this whole makeup look, basically to sell an editorial storyline this whole way through. And the judges hated this look. They did not think that this was it, and I was a bit like, what? Like, this is something you can easily see in a magazine, you could easily see it on an album cover, you could easily see it conveying a storyline, and that's the whole point, that we really wear makeup in this sort of like God-honoring way on a show like this in order to make us really evoke something from the audience. I absolutely love this. Nick was the only person to put something in her eye in order to make the eye red and inflamed looking. The idea that she's paid attention to technique from K-beauty styles of just like leaving I nearly said nipple! Leaving the lip completely nude and then putting this little bit of red down here to symbolize this kind of like flushed from the inside. The only thing that I would have liked to have seen that maybe would have worked a bit better is that to add a little bit of contouring under the cheekbones here, because she has phenomenal cheekbones. She could have really accentuated that. I must admit though, the only thing that was a bit confusing about this is the storyline that she went with. She was like, people always remember me for my curly hair. We love a woman who's invented a curly bleach blonde hair. We love it. And then she also wanted to talk about oceanic sustainability. I'm not quite sure how that came into it, really. Next up, we have Riley and her finished look here, which is absolutely thebomb.com. Absolutely love it. Stunning, stunning, stunning. So Riley has what's known as a port wine stain birthmark, which you can see on her before picture here. And she has always struggled with that throughout her life. And now she's turned it into a point of beauty and a point of really incorporating it into her looks and making a statement piece of it. So she's kind of like done this look where she's like turned it into diamonds. And I really, really love this look. So she used a cotton pad. When she was doing this, I was a bit like, oh, I don't know how it's going to turn out, girls. She used a cotton pad, rhinestoned it, and incorporated the colours into this, like, geode look. Absolutely stunning. The one little thing that I will say is on the eye that's the plain eye with the blue, I would have loved just a little bit more blending underneath this eyebrow here. Just right underneath, right tucked up there. I think that would have really made me just go,
oh yes, everything about it. Oh yes, love.
Sadly, in the bottom for this challenge is Nick and Summer, and to be honest, I do not agree with this bottom two. I think this bottom two should have been between Craig and Alex, because Craig's image did not convey what I wanted it to, really, and also Alex really struggled with time management, which is incredibly important when you are doing makeup. The challenge for these bottom two is to recreate a clumpy eyelash, which both Val and Dominic are just like singing the praises of. They love it. They think it's the best thing since sliced toast, girls. And I was like, I hate clumpy eyelashes.
An eyelash clump does not bring the family closer together in this instance, girls.
It can't sell an image. It makes you look at an image, but it makes you feel something that's like,
bleh.
So they are pitted against each other, in which they have to apply this clumpy eyelash using no techniques at all, I believe. I don't think they're told how to do it at all. They just have to create it. Nick ended up going home from this. Sadly, she had to leave the competition. But you can quite clearly see that Samar has done the look much more to the brief than Nick did. So I can kind of see what Nick was going for in this idea in order to create like super long, spidery, clumpy lashes that would have been really impactful. What I would have done is put these little individual lashes that you can see on the bottom. I would have put them on first, then layered mascara, added some translucent powder to the equation, a lot of translucent powder, then added more mascara over the top and just keep layering it that way. Samar definitely deserved to win this challenge and move on to the next week. And I'm sad to see Nick go. Sad. Well, my lovelies, thank you for joining me here today for my first glow up debunked, maybe. I don't know, that sounds a bit conspiracy theory, doesn't it? Scandal girls. Today's Twitch shout out goes to Uthika. Thank you so much for following me over on Twitch, you stunning woman on the game. And if you want to be in with a chance of being in my next video's Twitch shout out, make sure you go and follow me over on Twitch. I stream 3 nights a week. That's Sunday, Monday, and Thursday, and it is on Luxeria Plays. We've got a bunch of brand new Patreons, and I want to include them all in this video today, my lovely. So I want to say a massive thank you to my Patreons. You can see yourselves on the screen right here. And also a massive hello and welcome to Laura Hardy, Nice Shorts, Zevad, Cassie H, Amber Lee, Phantasmagory, Billy Madison Shampoo, Jessie Governor, Camilla Duguaswalier, Puppy Paws, Katie Arnold, Stacy Face, Adam Eve, and Defka99. Thank you so much for supporting the channel, my lovelies. And once again, a massive thank you and a huge shout out to my top tier Patreons and channel members. Stephanie Niatupski, Morigani Wolf, Erin Conkle, Magusta Lagoose, Steph Utek, Caitlin Wright, Megan Holly, Dana Broderick, Moldy Apple, Orkos Emoji, Lynx Howl, and Jared Pavlovsky, my lovely. Welcome. Thank you so much for your continued support on my channel, my lovelies. It's bringing the family closer together like an eyelash clump. And you know what, my loves? I'll see you in the next video. Yeah, I'll see you then.